start you can. Don't take off, always put on when you've done something physical.
What is that? Why never take off always put on?
Always put on after you've done exercise, because simply because your muscles seize will, if they get cold after you've made them very warm and you work them really hard, that's when you're going to get cramped and you'll get stiff. So ideally after this morning session you should have gone 52, follows immediately after the dissolution of the monasteries. Does anyone not know? And don't be ashamed to say about the dissolution of the monasteries. Right, I'll explain. When Henry VIII came to the throne, he married Catherine Barragan, who he eventually decided he wanted to divorce because she couldn't produce a son and heir. And he then whittled his way through his 6 wives, who he disposed of for one reason or the other. And the only way he could do this was instead of remaining Catholic and seeing the Pope as the head of the church, and the Pope wouldn't grant him a divorce or allow him to do the various things that he did with his wives, was to declare that he was in fact the head of the church and not the Pope, which is when we changed it from becoming a Catholic country to the Church of England, and that was how the Church of England came about. And then when the next wave came in, you were known as that, you had to very quickly either change sides or you met a rather hasty demise and lost whatever money you'd gained in the first time. So it was a very difficult period for most of the people in England. Yes, Graham?
Split us up into 3 groups.
Into 3 groups.
Kitchen, main room and guests.
Yes.
Stayed in different rooms.
In different rooms.
Yes, and there, on the crew stables, whatever.
In there. And this is going to be
The kitchen! Can I be the lady boy who never does any work?
What about, because we've got Edward's lot who are going to arrive.
Well, the family could be playing croquet on the lawn.
Yeah,
Who's so big?
Celia and Ursula can be upstairs, but we've also got Edward and Northumberland who are going to arrive with their retinue.
What? They've got loads of people as well?
We can walk up the road.
They probably have half a dozen.
God, I suppose they've got to sit out in the horrible sun. I'll join that one. Yeah, I'll stick it out with
Rosie.
Alright, mate.
Yes, go on.
Sorry, I was going to say jump with the jumper.
Actually, you could send John out as Northumberland.
He's old.
Yes, you're going out as Northumberland.
Not old.
Steve can be King Edward.
Look, I've never seen them.
Right, who's going to volunteer to go in the kitchen? The big kitchen stuff. Right. Can you
He wants to be a friend of me.
Can we
Yeah, alright. So you're we're the ones who like this, just like me. And you're a friend. Do you want to be
That was part of a session on the historical background of a novel by Anya Seton called Green Darkness, which was to provide the creative stimulus of our week's drama and television. The ideas in the book are based on the idea of reincarnation. It is set both in the present time and in 1568, when it covers a span of about 10 years. It is about a couple in the present who find themselves unwittingly reliving the events of 400 years ago, when they were young maid and monk. 400 years ago, they fell in love, but this love was doomed, both by society and by the monk's vocation. They did, however, eventually become lovers, but they were discovered. And the young maid, after a physical struggle with those who had discovered her, was walled up, alive. And the monk, on hearing about this, hung himself. In the present, the couple, bit by bit, discover and relive events from the past, which confused and frightened them and threatened the very fabric of their marriage, until an Indian guru called Akananda perceives and understands what is happening to them, and helps first the woman relive the events of 400 years ago, and then the man, until the past is exorcised and they understand what happened to them in the past, and they can live in the present without the past threatening them. Having talked to the group about the book and explored their historical background, they then divided themselves into 4 groups of 8. 2 groups taking on the characters from the past, and 2 groups taking on the characters as their counterparts in the present. They then discussed, explored, improvised, and eventually performed to their opposite numbers in time the aspects of the work that interested them in particular. This having been done, and the groups discussing in depth what it was they wanted to focus their work on, they then adapted, re-rehearsed, and eventually televised the pieces, which you will see later in this film.